Hi friends! Last week we started talking about how to choose the right meat goat for your climate and environment and the things you need to consider. This week we're talking about the 5 most prominent meat goat breeds, and we'll wrap up with tips on where to get your first meat goats and how to get them off to a great start. This episode is loaded with information, so grab a pencil and notebook and let's talk meat goats. Hey friends! Welcome to the Get Goat Wise podcast. Are you longing to raise goats and other animals for food but don't know where to start? Do you want to be more self-sufficient and less dependent on the grocery store? Do you wish you had a mentor to walk you through raising livestock? Hi, I'm Millie, animal scientist, cattle girl turned goat rancher, co-owner of Dry Creek Livestock, and simple living enthusiast. For 15 years, I've been on a mission to raise all of our own meat, eggs, and dairy. Here, we'll talk about raising goats and other homestead livestock, how to create sustainable animal management systems that actually work, and a bit of off-grid life with kids and livestock. If you're ready to take control of your food supply, raise livestock with confidence, and provide your family with the most nourishing meat, eggs, and dairy available, you're in the right place. Kick off your muck boots, pour a cup of coffee, and let's talk livestock. Hey friend! Do you want to hang out with like-minded folks who are also interested in raising their own livestock and seeking self-sufficiency? Inside the free Raising Goats and Homestead Livestock community, you'll get tips on raising goats and other livestock and ideas to increase your self-sufficiency. Join now at bit.ly/getgoatwisecommunity. You can also become an insider and get weekly emails from me with the latest podcast episode, tips on raising goats and other livestock, real-life information about self-sufficiency and living off-grid, and early bird access to special offers. Sign up at bit.ly/getgoatwiseinsider. We're picking up where we left off last week, talking about meat goat breeds. So if you haven't listened to episode 22, you may want to go back and listen to that first. Here we go. Let's talk about the most popular and available breeds of meat goats. Boer, spelled B-O-E-R. These goats originated in South Africa and were imported to the U.S. in 1993. Boer goats have established themselves as the king in meat goat production. They're very meaty goats and are easily recognized by their traditional coloring of red heads and white bodies. Their reputation of being heavily muscled along with their distinct coloring generally demands a higher price at auction. There are variations in the color, including solid red, solid black, black head with a white body, paints, and dapples. Boer goats have the shortest productive lifespan of all the meat breeds, 6 years for does and 5 years for bucks. This breed also illustrates a very important concept. There is often much more variation between animals within the same breed compared to the variation between breeds. I'm going to say that again. There is often much more variation between animals within the same breed compared to the variation between breeds. One of the primary complaints about Boer goats is low milk production, poor maternal traits, and bad udder structure. All of these things are true, but not in all genetic lines of Boer goats. These goats have been bred for show and for commercial meat production. When animals are bred for the sole purpose of being shown, some of their basic production traits suffer as the breeders strive for phenotypic perfection. Again, no shade to the show breeders, I was one myself. But on the commercial meat production side of Boer goats, there are some great performers. About half of our herd is made up of Boer goats, and we have strict culling criteria for performance and selection criteria for our replacements, so this herd is now very productive, with great mothering instincts, optimal milk production, and vastly improved udder structure. Looking at my group of Boers, the biggest drawback I see is the limited productive lifespan. If you're looking to get Boer goats for commercial meat production, you have to be very selective about the animals you choose. Kiko goats are probably the next most popular breed. The Kiko goat comes from New Zealand and was bred to thrive in that humid, temperate environment and to be more resistant to internal parasites. These goats are very popular in the southeast because of that. Their productive lifespan is 12 years for does and 10 years for bucks, which is double that of Boer goats, and they are considered excellent mothers. Another valuable trait for Kikos is their limited need for hoof maintenance. Kikos come in a variety of colors. In the market, they don't have the muscle of the Boer goats, and like most other breeds, will take a hit because of their coloring. It's not fair, but that's how it is right now. I don't have any Kiko goats, but if I lived in an area prone to parasite issues, I would own some. Next up is Spanish goats. Spanish goats are the result of hundreds of years of natural selection, beginning from goats that either were turned loose or escaped from Spanish explorers. Because of this, these goats are exceptionally adaptable, hardy, and productive. They're excellent mothers with a well-structured udder. They come in all colors, but most traditionally buckskin, and they're much smaller than most goat breeds. Productive lifespan is 12 years for both does and bucks, again, double that of Boer goats. These goats were predominantly in the Southwest, but are now located all over the U.S., demonstrating their ability to adapt to new environments quickly. Like Kikos, they don't have the muscling or coloring of the Boer goats, so that is a negative in today's market. Half of our herd is Spanish goats. We've had them 2 years now, and I'm so impressed with their productivity, mothering, and overall performance. We will definitely be growing this herd of goats, possibly using a terminal cross with a Boer buck to meet that market demand for the Boer look. What I mean by terminal cross is that we would select part of our herd and use a Boer buck. The likelihood of their kids being Boer colored is very high, and all of the offspring would sell for meat. We would use the other part of our Spanish herd to raise more Spanish goats for replacement does to grow our herd. I'm excited to watch these goats over the next several years and see if they live up to that productive lifespan expectation. Savannah goats are another breed that originated in South Africa. They are white with dark pigmented skin, which provides some protection against skin issues. Their productive lifespan is 8 years for does and 9 years for bucks. They were imported in the mid-1990s, closely resemble Boer goats, but their breeding and management took a completely different path than the Boer goats. Savannahs were raised in rugged brush country, and natural selection played a big role in developing this fertile, highly maternal, heat and drought-resistant breed. They are very adaptable to both intensive and extensive grazing systems. Savannahs are a well-muscled goat that resembles Boer goats, and they don't usually get discounted for color at market. I've been interested in Savannahs for a long time, and I may consider them in the future. Myotonic goats, also called Tennessee goats or fainting goats, are the ones you see on social media reels that lock up and tip over when startled. They are definitely unique in the goat world for many reasons. They're very muscular, and they're popular in the meat goat market. They're a smaller, slower-growing goat with a productive lifespan of 10 years for both does and bucks. They're good mothers with good milk production and easy kidding. They don't jump or climb, and the desirable characteristics of their meat are very much liked by customers and processors. Other meat goat breeds that are less prominent but may be worth looking into are Tex Masters, Kalahari Red, and pygmy goats if you're looking for a mini meat goat. When you start shopping for your goats, here are a few tips. Local is best. If you can find someone in your area that has quality meat goats that match up to your requirements, that is the best way to go. If you can't find local, get goats from as similar climate as you can to your climate. If you can't find any in a similar climate that fit your goals, choose a breed that is highly adaptable and get them at a time in the year when they'll have the most time to acclimate to your climate before severe weather arrives that they're not accustomed to. For us, we would ideally bring in new goats in early summer so they have all of the summer and fall months to adjust before winter hits. That's not always possible, though. Goats are fully capable of adapting to a new climate, and fairly quickly. Some breeds adapt more quickly than others. Our Spanish goats adapted amazingly well to our harsh winters. In fact, that first winter they were here as doe kids, we had possibly the hardest winter I can remember, and we didn't lose a single one. To help them adapt quickly, they need to be in good nutritional status. Mineral requirements need to be met. That helps them take the move in stride and settle in well. Adequate feed and good clean water. some kind of windbreak or shelter to ease the transition. Be prepared for some loss. You'll be much more likely to have some loss when you bring goats in that have a lot to adjust to. I hope this episode helps you define your perfect meat goat. Remember to look at your goals, market, climate, forage availability, and management plan, and consider all of those things when you're choosing the type of goat that fits best for your farm, ranch, or homestead. If you have questions, you can send me an email, and that's linked in the show notes, or come on over to the community and start a discussion at bit.ly/getgoatwisecommunity. Hey there, thanks for listening today. I'm so glad you're here. If this episode helped you or encouraged you in some way, share the link with your homesteading friends. And if you really want to help me out, click on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and a review. You can connect with me on Instagram or email linked in the show notes, and meet me back here soon for more Get Goat Wise.